As the Beijing Winter Olympics approach, China's digital renminbi is being tested on a new group of subjects, including foreign athletes, international business people, and overseas tourists. They do not need to open a local bank account to use it. A white paper published by the Chinese government in July 2021 confirms this. It states, the public without bank accounts can enjoy essential financial services through digital renminbi wallets. Short-term foreign residents visiting China can open digital renminbi wallets to meet their daily payment needs in China without opening a bank account in mainland China. The promotion of digital renminbi is not only limited to consumers alone, but foreign businesses in China need to embrace this new payment method. The Financial Times in the UK reported in November 2021, citing knowledgeable sources, that China has pressured several US companies to install a system to allow consumers to pay for their products in digital renminbi before the opening of the Winter Olympics in Beijing. Major American companies such as McDonald's, Nike, and Visa are among those pressured. Emily Jin, a research associate at the Center for a New American Security, told The Voice of America, the Chinese government wants foreigners and businesses to use the digital renminbi and to install supporting facilities that allow digital renminbi wallets to circulate. If foreigners find this appealing, it could help China expand the international reach and use of the digital renminbi. More than 270 McDonald's restaurants have accepted digital renminbi as a means of payment since its pilot program began in Shanghai. The Chinese government is urging the fast food giant to promote digital renminbi payments more widely. As early as 2014, China's central bank set up a research group on legal digital currency. By the end of 2019, the digital renminbi began piloting and has progressively expanded the pilot provinces and cities. Beijing claims that it has pretty much completed the top-level design, function development, and system debugging for the digital renminbi R&D trial. According to China's central bank, as of October 22nd, China has opened 140 million digital renminbi individual wallets and 10 million corporate accounts, with a cumulative transaction size of nearly 9.7 billion US dollars. The use of digital renminbi covers almost all daily spending areas and includes government fees, tax collection, subsidy payouts, and more. The application of digital renminbi is being gradually expanded. For example, starting from August 1, 2021, the Beijing subway added the functions of purchasing subway tickets and recharging with a digital renminbi. Simply put, digital renminbi is digitized cash in RMB. It's not a technological breakthrough per se, as digital payments have existed in China for years. According to a 2019 Payment Journal survey conducted by the People's Bank of China, the number and value of Chinese mobile payment transactions are 66% and 59% respectively, while the number and the value of cash transactions are 23% and 16% respectively. This survey also found that 46% of respondents did not have any cash transactions during the survey period. Although the report from the government did not mention Tencent's WeChat Pay or Alibaba's Alipay, most non-cash payments in China are made through them. What's unique about digital renminbi is that WeChat Pay and Alipay are the equivalents of wallets, while digital renminbi is the money inside the wallet. Digital renminbi allows money transfer without relying on a bank account and supports offline transactions. To operate digital renminbi, people need to download an app and open an e-wallet to use it. So, can personal privacy be protected with the digital renminbi? According to Chinese officials, digital currency follows the principle of anonymity for small amounts and traceability for large amounts, and people need to disclose transactions to the only third party, the Chinese central bank. In other words, small retail payments by ordinary people are processed and the central bank doesn't have the specific data in its possession at the time. At the same time, the government doesn't allow people to use digital renminbi to commit illegal acts such as money laundering. Although Chinese technology companies are inextricably linked to the government, the digital renminbi allows the Chinese government to monitor all its transactions, beefing up the government's ability to track currency flows. Indeed, some analysts believe that China's crackdown on leading tech companies earlier in 2021 was at least partially motivated by a desire to curb competitors to the digital renminbi. In November 2020, Shenzhen piloted the digital renminbi with red envelopes but ultimately failed to give out the full projected amount. The response from the public was lukewarm, as the digital renminbi couldn't be transferred or withdrawn, making it less convenient than Alipay and WeChat payments. At present, both Ant Group's MyBank and Tencent's WeBank are listed as pilot banks for the digital renminbi. For Ant Group and Tencent, implementing digital renminbi means dismantling their own mobile payment systems in China, but they have no choice. Amid the fervor of the government's push for digital renminbi, the Chinese media doesn't present the cons. Instead, only applause by the Chinese people is seen.
I still remember in the past how we withdrew bundles of cash from the bank and delivered them to villagers door by door. A few years later, we replaced the cash with checks. Still, we had to bring them to each family, and villagers needed to run to banks for cash, which was quite troublesome, to be honest. So this year, we distributed the revenue to their e-wallets.
The virtual currency features inclusiveness, convenience, as well as easy accessibility. It's like a hardware wallet that can take any shapes, for example, a keychain, and the only thing you need to do is to bring it closer to the checkout machine and pay for the bill without having to touch the phone at all. In the future, the digital currency might play a bigger role by linking with the Internet of Things technologies. So, what exactly is the purpose of the Chinese Communist Party's push for digital renminbi? First, people will lose their privacy when using electronic currency, making it easier for the government to monitor. The government can easily oversee the trajectory of the currency's movement. It can be said that spending activities, as well as personal information and personal whereabouts, will be fully exposed. At the same time, personal assets will be at risk. For example, things like fines, levies, forced donations, and freezing funds by various government departments will become more arbitrary and easy to execute. In particular, the Chinese government can use some sort of grand excuse and have people's savings taken away directly through the central bank, or reset their digital currency to zero. This may sound exaggerated, but even in the age of paper money, as banks run out of cash, they have started to dip into depositors' funds. At this Postal Savings Bank of China, 130 customers are said to have had nearly $4.41 million of their money diverted by the bank, leaving customers unable to withdraw their cash. Second, issuing digital currency is less costly than printing money, and it's easier for the CCP to stimulate the economy by manipulating the amount of money in society. It costs the central bank a certain amount to print money. Now, with the issuance of digital currency, the cost is significantly lower. Third, China's economy is deteriorating and finances are tight. Many foreign companies and investors are leaving. A lot of Chinese money is trying to flee as well. Digital renminbi can help the government to block massive capital outflow. Chinese people who want to move their money abroad and escape the control of the Beijing government need to hurry up. Once the digital renminbi is fully operational, it will be very difficult for funds to escape. Fourth, the CCP is aware of the changing international environment and the rapidly deteriorating domestic economic situation. Although the official experts try to spin it up, they can't hide their concerns.
The international situation is getting worse, very, very complicated. Protectionism prevails. The COVID epidemic is widespread. The economic order has been frustrated. The floods were very serious. People's lives are almost on a standstill. But China government, I think, took a very good, very steady, very timely measures, make our economy recovered very quickly.
In response, the CCP has been restoring the planned economy on a much larger scale. An apex nationwide organization called the All China Federation of Supply and Marketing Cooperatives, which had disappeared from China for a long time, is gradually being revived. An increasing number of private enterprises are being nationalized in various ways. These are all signs of a government ready to implement a planned economy. If the wealth of every individual Chinese is controlled by the government, it will facilitate the implementation of a planned economy and make it easier for the government to make uniform arrangements for every aspect of the national economy in terms of production, sales, and consumption. The rapid economic development over the past 3 decades and the all-encompassing infiltration of overseas countries have given the CCP the illusion of a rising power that holds the ambition to control the world. In February 2021, the Institute of Digital Currency of the Central Bank of China announced that, together with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the central banks of Thailand and the United Arab Emirates, it would launch a multilateral central bank digital currency bridge research project. Based on the research, the participants will assess the feasibility of applying the digital currency bridge in cross-border economic activities. In other words, the countries participating in China's Belt and Road projects are the ones that the CCP believes have the most potential to be influenced. Western countries, on the other hand, are what the CCP wants to control the most. Foreign businesses and enterprises are considered a shortcut to achieving its goal. Regarding Beijing pressuring Western companies in China to use the digital Renminbi, a former CIA analyst and senior fellow at the Center for a New American Security told the Voice of America, "Foreign companies are given few, if any, options, and as the pilot is rolled out and the digital renminbi gets more users, you could see a situation where companies from various countries are forced to use it." Now foreign companies in China face a dilemma. On the one hand, Chinese officials are going all out to get Chinese people to use the digital renminbi, and refusing to accept this payment method will likely hurt their business interests. On the other hand, companies have security concerns about data privacy, and they also face resistance from the legislature in their home countries. If digital renminbi becomes common, Beijing will have a potent new tool such as the ability to shut down all digital transactions by American companies if they say something or take a position the Chinese government doesn't like. Beijing can do it with the flick of a switch. No deal would go through until the company changes its position. Some members of Congress and UK intelligence agencies have expressed concern about the expansion of test audiences for the digital renminbi during the Beijing Winter Olympics. From July through December 2021, Republican members of the U.S. Congress have been urging the U.S. Olympic Committee to ban U.S. athletes from using the digital renminbi during the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. Senators wrote to the Olympic Committee, "It's essential that the USOPC work with the U.S. State Department, the U.S. Treasury Department, and the U.S. Department of Commerce to protect the privacy of U.S. athletes under the Chinese Communist government." Gooden told Breitbart News in a statement, "China is the main adversary of the United States with a long history of monitoring American citizens." At the time of writing, the U.S. Olympic Committee hasn't responded to the legislature's demands. So, will the renminbi's digitalization enable it to replace the US dollar? The US dollar is used far more than all other currencies in international transactions. According to the latest Bank for International Settlements ranking, the US dollar is used at 88% and the renminbi is used only at 4%. That is, the volume of international trade settled using the RMB is quite limited. In addition to the US dollar and the euro, there are also the Japanese yen, the British pound, and the Swiss franc, with the RMB coming in at a distant back seat. It can be presumed that digitization itself won't make the renminbi a competitor of the US dollar in interbank wire transfers. Because the key to broad acceptance of a currency isn't how high the technology is, but how good the country's sovereign credit is. Therefore, it's virtually impossible for the digital renminbi to become the basis of a global currency. However, the world shouldn't underestimate Beijing's determination. Past history shows that the CCP is accustomed to behaving recklessly and unscrupulously. It's also well versed in exploiting human desire and greed, taking advantage of every vulnerability and exploiting the openness of Western countries.